Welcome to another episode in our series on Pirkei Avot, which we're really enjoying. We're still on the third perek, about to start the seventh Mishna, and of course, as usual, it's in memory of Levy ben Moshe ve'Esther and Elisheva Yael bat Leah Levy, and also in memory of Rosie bat Moshe ve'Esther. So, Michael, take it away.
Well, first of all, I wanted you to give the introduction of the biography.
Right. So the subject of this Mishnah is one of the Tanaim called Rabbi Chalafta ben Dosa. Now, he's not a common name. We've heard of Rabbi Chanina ben Dosa, but Rabbi Chalafta, perhaps maybe he's known as Stam Rabbi Chalafta, I'm not sure. But it says here, first of all, he was from Kfar Chananya, as the Mishnah tells us. But additionally, he was a fifth generation Tana, and he was a student in the great Rabbi Meir Bar Hanes. He lived in Kfar Chananya, which we said, which nowadays is called Kfar Eina, and it's a town on the border between the Upper and Lower Galilee. So a lot of the Tanaim used to live in the area of the Galil, Tiberia, and like Meron, those types of areas. So he was one of that set of Tanaim who lived in that area of Eretz Yisrael. Okay, Michael.
Okay, so this Mishnah starts, Rabbi Chalafta ben Dosa, Ish Kfar Chananya Omer. Rabbi Chalafta of Kfar Chananya said, Asara sheyoshvim ve'oskim b'Torah, when 10 sit together and occupy themselves with Torah, Shechina sheruva b'neihem, the Shechina abides amongst them. Sherema, as it is written in Tehillim 82:1, Elokim nitzav ba'adat el, God stands in the congregation of Hashem. Uminyan afilu chamisha, and how do we know the same is true if they are numbered of 5 people? Shnema, it is said in Amos 9:6, Va'agutoto al aretz yatzada, and I quote, this band of his he has established on earth. Uminyan afilu shlosha, and how do we know the same is true of 3 people together, that the Shekhinah rests with them? Shema, as it is written in Tehillim 82:1, Bakerev Elokim yishfot, in the midst of the judges he judges. Uminyan afilu shenayim, and how do we know even with 2 people that the Shekhinah will rest amongst them, as they learn? Shnema, as is written in Malachi Gimel, as nibru yirei Hashem, then they that fear Hashem spoke with one another. Ish kelwehu vayakshev Hashem vayishma, etc. Then they that fear Hashem spoke with one another, and the Lord heard, the Lord hearkened and heard. Uminyan afilu echad, and how do we know with even one person, if one person is learning, the Shekhinah will descend and rest upon him? Shnema, as it is written in Shemot 20:21, V'chol hamakom asher azkir et shemi avar alecha uverachticha. In every place where I cause my name to be mentioned, I will come unto you and bless you. So this Mishnah deals with the concept of combined congregation of various numbers of people, and the descent of the Shekhinah to dwell amongst them and perhaps energize them metaphorically in their studying and their learning. So it gives all the ratios of people from 10 down to 5, down to 3, to 2 and 1, and proves from various sources how that it must be the case. So let's look at Rav Chaim of Volozhin his commentary on this Mishnah. In regards to the sentence, in every place where I cause Azkir, my name, to be mentioned, although this verse is probably properly rendered in every place where I cause my name to be mentioned, the Mishnah expands upon this verse as if it had said, in every place where you cause my name to be mentioned. Man is not capable of any action at all without Hashem's help. All movements require some energy, and all energy is a divine gift. Any mitzvah a man performs, any Torah that he studies, is actually being done by Hashem. And I quote, every place where I cause my name to be mentioned. Even though it is my, Hashem's energy that is being utilized to study Torah and perform mitzvahs, and I quote, I will come to you and bless you. So I will reward you as if you had utilized your own energy. Interesting concept. Rav Chaim continues, this verse can also be understood in its literal sense. Man might have various motives for studying Torah. If he desires fame and honor, that drive is what reminds him, Azkir, to apply himself to his studies. If his motives are pure, then it is Hashem's honor that reminds him, Azkir, to apply himself. And I quote, any place where I cause Azkir, my name, to be mentioned, end quote, where I, Hashem, am the catalyst for your Torah studies, I, Hashem, will bless you. And he also comments on even with one person studying, how do we know that the Shekhinah will rest on him? He says, the quality of Torah study is much greater when it's studied in a group. The value of a mitzvah is proportionally greater when more people perform that mitzvah. Rashi tells us this in Vayikra 26:8. Therefore, we require a proof that the Shekhinah rests even on an individual. Conversely, mundane matters should be dealt with individually. So that's interesting. What does Bartanura gives his commentary regarding the various ratios of people and how we learn that they are Hashem is a witness to or rests with us. In the when 10 who are sitting in judgment, so there is no congregation or judgment. 10 who are sitting in judgment indicates that when 10 people are together, then Hashem is amongst them. Also, there is no congregation that is less than 10. There's also it's stated with the 12 scouts that went out before we entered the land of Israel. Until it says, until when will this evil congregation, subtracting Yehoshua and Caleb, and then you reach the figure of 10. And from where is the proof that this is true, even when there were only 5? It is said in Psalms 82:1, in the midst of judges he judges. So we here, Bartanura shows us that there are 3 judges and 2 litigants. And from where 3, as it is said, and he has founded his band upon the earth. Bartanura says fire and air and water, which are 3, he has founded upon the earth. So he's stating an interesting combination of elements that he brings a proof. As they surround the fundamental element of earth, behold, to you 3 are called a band. He also gives another explanation, is that we have found that 3 are called a band with a band of hyssop, which are made from 3 stalks. And some books have written in them, from where is there proof that this is true even when there are only 5, as it is said, and he has founded his band upon the earth. As a man bands together things into his one hand, which has 5 fingers, so the group of fingers in the hand is also called a band. And in the beginning of the verse it states, he who builds his upper chambers in the heavens, which is to say that the divine presence which is in the heavens comes down to earth when there is a band there that is involved with Torah, and also he comments on from where even 3, as it is said in Psalms 82:1, in the midst of judges he judges. So it's interesting. There's also another concept that I was thinking about regarding the cumulative power of people studying and the Shekhinah. As everything we see in Hashem's work, his handiwork is based on the divine ratio, the divine proportions, which can be mathematically formulated as a series of ratio numbers. For example, they're called the golden ratio is, and I'll quote them now, 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55, 89, which are the first 10 positions of this ratio. Now, the ratio you understand the ratio by adding the previous number. So 1 plus 1 equals 2, 2 plus 1 equals 3, 3 plus 2 equals 5, 5 plus 3 equals 8, and so on. This is the ratio that plants grow. Our body is in the same ratio of 3 to 2, 5 to 3, 8 to 5, 13 to 8. It's the exact ratio, how the length of our arm to our forearm, the length of our forearm to our hand, the length of our finger to the further forward part of the finger. There's all this divine ratio, the ratio that Hashem built the world on. Now, it's interesting, but I was thinking about the concept of two people who are lifting a load. If each person can lift 100 pounds, we know that if two people can lift the same 100 pounds each, it's not that they can lift. If they lift something together, they can lift not 200, but they can lift something like 300 pounds because of somehow this cumulative effect of two people being together gives more power. And it seems like it follows the same divine ratio, the divine proportions. Like the sequence of numbers is 1, 1, 2, 3, 3, 5, 5, 8. Maybe there follows the divine ratio when numbers in Kedusha, when two people are together, it's like 3 people are there. This we can understand because we see that when 2 people are together, the Shekhinah descends and makes it 3 people together, or three entities together. Yeah. But this is very interesting because if you just take this as an example, you follow this up to 10 people, the golden ratio for 10, the 10th position, is actually 89 times. So perhaps when you're davening in a minyan, your kedusha, your prayers have the power of 89 people. Perhaps this is an interesting concept.
When we were discussing this before, I pointed out a Gemara in Chagiga, Daf Yud Gimel Amud Aleph, which talks about Nebuchadnezzar, who was, of course, the big Rasha, who destroyed the Beit HaMikdash. So he was a very haughty person. He really thought a lot about himself, and we learned. And there's a brighter here that I think bears a lot of relevance to what Michael has just said. So it says here, Omar Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, said Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, Ma teshuvah heshivatu bat kol lo'oto rasha. What reply did the heavenly voice give to that wicked man, meaning Nebuchadnezzar? Because Nebuchadnezzar, he made a statement. The Gemara mentions what he said. B'shah she'amar e'eleh al bamotei av edamneh le'elyom. When he said, this is Nebuchadnezzar, when Nebuchadnezzar said, I will ascend over the tops of the clouds, I will liken myself to the Most High. Yeah, he wanted to compare himself to God. Lahavdil, elef afei avdilot. What a Rasha he was. So this is what happened. this is how really to get a person, put him in their place. You see how the Gemara now will tell you how we put this Rasha in his place. Yatzta bat kol v'amalo. A voice emerged from Shemayim and told this Rasha, and they called him, they didn't mince words, there was no political correctness in Shemayim. The bat kol said, Rasha ben Rasha, you wicked man, son of a wicked man. Ben beno shel Nimrod HaRasha shemrid kol ha'olam kulo ha'olav malchuto. Grandson of the wicked Nimrod, who caused the entire world to rebel against himself, putting him in his place. Yeah? During his reign. Kama shenotav shel adam. How many are the years of man? Shivim shana, 70 years? Shilema, as it says, Yemei shenotenu b'hem shivim shana. The days of our years, among them, is 70 years. Vim begvorot shmonim shana. Okay, and if he's mighty, okay, let's get 80 years. Oh, it's between 70 and 80 years, be'erech. V'alo. Now listen, this is where they put this whole thing into perspective. Man had lived 70, 80 years. V'alo. Behold. Min ha'aretz ad rakia mahalach 500 shana. From the earth until the first heaven, the Gemara previously been discussing that there was 7 heavens. There are 7 heavens, right? From the earth until the lowest heaven, is a journey of 500 years. So that already shuts up that Rasha from the outset, yeah? You live 70, 80 years and you want to go, even the tip of the iceberg is 500 years. That's what we start off with. And the thickness of a heaven is a journey of 500 years as well. And the same thing between each of the heavens. We said 7 heavens. So there's thousands of years we're talking about. This Rasha is talking about his life being walking in the heavens. Egypt. Above them are the holy chayot, which is the holy angels. Ragle. Now here's where the I think Michael's ratio comes into play. Ragle hachayot keneged kulam. The feet of the chayot, just the feet of these angels. I don't know how many billions of them there were. The feet of these angels are equivalent to all of the above mentioned measurements. All the 500 years to the first heaven and the thickness of the heaven, etc. All of that is equivalent to their feet. The ankles of the chayot are equivalent to all of them below. Again, we're like this ratio, this divine ratio. Yeah. It has a name. Does it have a name, Michael?
Well, they call it the Fibonacci ratio. But I mean, it's always known as the golden ratio or the divine ratio, where you add the ratio, the number of the previous number, add it to the next number, and it has this series that is constant in nature. And it's like Hashem's blueprint. It's Hashem's ratio for everything from your own body, your own form, to plants and nature. Everything, even the way a stream meanders over ground, is a ratio. If it has to meander for 1 kilometer as the crow flies, it will have a length of 1.6 as it winds around, which 1.6 times 1 is exactly the same ratio as 2 to 3, as 3 to 5, as 5 to 8, the same 1 by 1.6. It's interesting.
Phenomenal. That's phenomenal ratio. So here this is evidence in the supernatural, as it were, the spirit world.
Metaphysical. Yeah.
Metaphysical world. So the feet of the chayot are equivalent to all of the above mentioned spans. And the ankles of the chayot are equivalent to all of them before that. Shokei hachayot keneged kulam. The lower parts of the legs of the chayot are equivalent to all of them prior. We see the ratio moving on, adding on the previous parts. Rechuvei hachayot keneged kulam. The middle parts of the legs of the chayot are equivalent to all of them before that. Yarchei hachayot keneged kulam. The upper parts of the legs of the chayot are equivalent to all of them. Gufei hachayot keneged kulam. The torsos of the chayot are equivalent to all of them. Tzavarei hachayot keneged kulam. The necks of the chayot are equivalent to all of them. You get some idea of the size of these angels. Roshei hachayot keneged kulam. The heads of the chayot are equivalent to all of them beforehand. Karnei hachayot keneged kulam. The horns of the chayot are equivalent to all of them before that. Lamala mehen. And above these chayot, which were absolutely gargantuan. So above the chayot is the throne of glory, Hashem's Pirkei Avot. Raglei Kisei Kavod K'nei Kulam, the feet of the throne of glory equivalent to all of them beforehand. Kisei Kavod K'nei Kulam, the throne of glory is equivalent to all of them. Thousands, and we're talking about millions of years span from earth. Melech El Chai V'Kayam Ram V'Nizah Shochen Alehem. The king, the living and the enduring God, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, exalted and uplifted, rests his Shekhinah upon them. Yeah, that's what the voice said to Nebuchadnezzar. Now it gives his pièce de résistance. And you said, I will ascend over the top to the clouds. I will liken myself to the Most High. You, Nebuchadnezzar, you're going to go all those thousands and thousands of years? Says the Gemara. Ach el Sheol turad el Yark. Only to the netherworld will you be lowered, to the bottom of the pit. Ha! That's what you deserve. You think of the God, you're going to go to Gehinnom. Finished. But anyway, you'll see from here how the ratio works in terms of the spiritual world, where it adds on previous, all the previous things. Also, another thing just occurred to me. It's how did they count on Yom Kippur when the Kohen Gadol went into the Kodesh HaKodashim, or where he was by the Mizbeach, he sprinkled the blood on the altar. How did they count it? 1 plus 1, 1 plus 2, 1 plus 3, 1 mavor, and it says Kamat Slif used to spritz it on the thing like a whip. This is also some of the previous part. I'm telling you, this is.
Well, it's no coincidence. It's called the divine ratio.
Yeah.
Well, that's so interesting. So never forget that when you're davening, perhaps your kedusha from being more. If you gather together to learn, the more people has an almost exponential effect ratio. So it's not just the sum of the two parts. It's a tremendous. It could have far more metaphysical power than we ever imagined. But yeah, this is very interesting.
Wow. Okay, that's absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Michael. That's definitely food for thought. We're prefacing it by saying it's just a suggestion. We haven't checked it with anybody, but we're putting it down on record for posterity. Maybe it might be the truth. I don't know. Anyway, thank you for that, Michael. And next time we convene, we're going to go to Mishna 8, which is Rabbi Elazar of Bartota. Until then, have a wonderful and blessed week.